It's Kate, PozzA and Kelly here to talk about all the Moto3, Moto2 and MotoGP action that went down at the Tissot Grand Prix of the United Kingdom. We're just going to start straight off with Moto3 because we had some wonderful battles, with the battle for first place coming down to the last lap and the last corner. We did see a couple of incidents that saw riders pick up long lap penalties due to irresponsible riding. One of these was Tayo Furusato, who crossed the line in fourth, a good result for him considering the season he's having, but he got a 3-second time penalty because he wasn't able to complete that long lap due to it being given so late. The other rider that copped one is Luca Lunetta. He did overcome this long lap penalty to step into third place on the podium. Rookie Maximo Quiles came in second place, fighting tooth and nail for the win, but had to settle for second because Jose Antonio Ruedas, this kid, man, we knew he had talent. We got to see glimpses of it when he wasn't injured last year, but honestly, he came in first place after he started at the back of the grid, a penalty he received for riding significantly slowly on the racing line after posting a personal best. It was an incredible ride by Rueda, in my opinion, and I'll be surprised if he doesn't move up to Moto2 next year just because he's so strong. How about the two of you? What did you think about this race?
The race itself was good. I'm not sure if it matched quite to MotoGP, especially considering the way Silverstone, the format works. It's you have Moto2, MotoGP, then Moto3. It's kind of like, is it really going to match that level? But it was okay. Absolutely insane from Rueda. Like, there was a certain point during the race where you're looking at like the leaderboard and you look over to the side and he's just in fifth and you're like, where the hell do you come from? Like last time I checked, you were down in last. Where did you appear from? It was madness and really highly impressive. And I'm happy. I'm really happy with happening because I really do love Rueda. I was kind of rooting for Munoz. He didn't really commit any terrorism attacks over this weekend. And then I believe it was Luca Lanesha he had an incident with, and then so that all went to crap. It just feels like it feels like every week just gets worse and worse. Like he hasn't. This weekend wasn't even his fault, but it just feels like he hasn't improved at all. And it's so depressing. Same goes for Angel Bacaras. For somebody who I consider to be a title contender, he's just not great. He's had a lot of incidents, he's a lot of crashing out, and yeah, for somebody who I consider to be very generally strong, he's not doing a great job. I feel like I've been undermining Maximo Quiles though. Like he's had good results, and I just haven't really considered him putting as a podcast prediction. But maybe I'll start doing that because he's actually been quite strong the last couple of weekends. Yeah, overall, just a very, very good race. I'm happy that my guy Ogden got a few points. And yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was obviously a super strong ride from Rueda, starting at the back of the grid at Silverstone. In Moto3 has benefited some in the past, mainly David Alonso. Rueda was actually the third rider in Moto3 history to win starting from the back of the grid. And the thing that I find just slightly more impressive about that is he's technically the first who has won a race in Moto3 starting last, as Binder in 2016 had a rider in the pit lane, and Alonso had poor Scott Ogden behind him in 2023. But yeah, again, super strong result for him. Didn't really look like he was gonna. He looked like he had it all under control with about 5 laps to go around about. And Max Quiles was the only one that would manage to go along with him and fight him to the very end, which was impressive, as it's only Quiles' I think third or fourth race. So it's good to see rookies up there. And yeah, Lunetta came back from that long lap that he had, which was also pretty impressive.
So Moto3 was pretty great. But let's talk about my favourite race of the weekend, because it's Moto2. I feel like that's the best Moto2 race so far this season, and I think Silverstone as a whole is probably so far the best weekend that we've had. All three classes were really good. In Moto2, we had a great first few laps because the wind was pretty up there this weekend. Manu Gonzalez, the championship leader, had a massive wheelie off the line, completely messed up the start, and then crashed out. So a bit of a disaster of a weekend for him, and he handed a whole bunch of points to Aaron Canet. One thing I enjoyed about this race was the fact that Ivan Guevara led the race for a part, and Diogo Moreira was battling people left, right, and centre. I have to admit, I'm still loving the battle between Diogo and Senna. This year, I think it's just like this lovely little side topic that I can focus on. I want to talk about the last lap though, because on the last lap, Aaron Canet's leading. I'm thinking, this is great. My boy's going to have a win. He goes wide to try and defend that first place and ends up losing 3 positions and gets himself off the podium. But through comes Senna Agius in a brilliant overtake, and it was just absolutely sensational. Obviously, we're a podcast that started down under, so we love our Australian and Kiwis, so this was a great result for us as a whole. 2 other people also made it onto the podium, Diogo Moreira and David Alonso. It was a very awesome podium, a bunch of flags that we don't normally see, and yeah, definitely my race of the weekend. What did you guys think of it?
Yeah, no, I absolutely adored Moto2. Probably one of my favorites to watch this weekend as well, but not the favorite. I think you guys know why. But yeah, Moto2 was absolutely amazing to watch. I suppose I'd have to admit, a really good big Manu Gonzalez fan, and the move that he attempted to pull off this weekend was less than ideal. Wasn't really fun. What were you trying there, mate? Wasn't really nice to look at and made me quite depressed. So I won't chat about it much more. Izan Guevara had an absolutely insane start off the line. I genuinely thought he was going to win it for like 5 minutes. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. He finished 5th, but it's a big step up from where he was, and I'm happy. I'm really happy he did that because it's kind of given me a bit more faith in him. I am missing. I have a lack of a Dutchman this weekend as Colin Varr has a wrist injury. So really, really sad over that. I really wish I could have seen him at Silverstone this weekend, and I may not see him for another while, which is very sad. But on top of that, I thought I might root for Zonta van der Gorberg, and well, that did nothing for me because Zonta finished 13th, 3 points. Yay! Why? Why is he so slow? He's been in Moto2 for a good while now. I feel like he should have learned a bit more. I need Vire back. Come back, Colin, please. Seriously. Yeah, overall, really happy that AJ's won. I really wanted that to happen for a long time. I think he highly deserves it. Same as Diogo Moreira. Insane race. I would have preferred him to win it, I think, but that's just because I'm a little bit biased. And then David Alonso with his first podium, which I really didn't expect, but who am I to judge? That was very impressive from him.
Yeah, obviously as an Australian fan and one that likes Senna Edges quite a lot, it was pretty amazing seeing him just sort of cut through. It was Alonso and Canet at the final corner, and then seeing all 3 of them being Canet, Alonso, and Moreira going at it at the final 2 corners, only ending about half a tenth apart from each other. It was just kind of the perfect way to top off the race that they'd had. Obviously, all they were carving each other up for pretty much the entirety of the race, and it was just really entertaining to watch. But I'm glad that Senna ended up getting it done. Obviously, it's his first win in Moto2, and yeah, just really nice to see. Aside from that, obviously David Alonso was the top rookie in 3rd. Looking further down the field, there wasn't actually another rookie in the points, with Danny Holgado in 18th, Yuki Kuni in 20th, and that was it for the rookies.
Unlike a lot of people, the 3 of us all agreed that David Alonso wasn't gonna just jump on the Moto2 bike and be fast, probably due to the fact that he's so tiny. So this is a great result for him, and I'm kind of curious if you guys think that he's now clicked with his Moto2 machine and we can see more of these results going forward, or if you think that it was just a one-off and the stars aligned sort of thing.
I'm not sure if he's fully clicked with the bike yet. I feel like a podium doesn't, like, I wouldn't say a podium just says, oh yeah, he's grand, he's going to get multiple more podiums. At the end of the day, he still is quite young. As you said, he's quite small. The Moto2 bike is a big jump. and it's very hard to adjust to. Yeah, I'd love to see podiums going forward. I just think it's going to be a good bit later in the season. I think his results are going to be a bit fluctuating right now. But yeah, I'd be really happy to see some more podiums going forward.
Yeah, I don't really think he's fully clicked or it was a one-off. I feel like it was sort of a bit in the middle. Obviously, it's insanely difficult for a rookie to fully click with the Moto2 bike. Obviously, this early into the season, but even into the first whole season, and even into a bit of the second season, honestly. So I think he's still got a bit to go, which isn't a bad thing, and I do think he'll definitely keep progressing, and that will be exciting to see. But yeah, I think he's still got a little bit to learn, and it would be good to see him do it consistently.
Looking back, I suppose, to Saturday, it was Sprint Saturday, as it is every single race weekend in MotoGP. But we saw Fabio Quartararo put in another beautiful performance on Saturday to pick up a third pole position in a row on that Yamaha. He did go backwards a bit in the sprint to finish 7th, but it was a really good showing by him. And yeah, it was just really good to see him on pole for the third time in a row. I'm hoping this means that Yamaha found something, because we did see 3 Yamahas go through to Q2 automatically, which is incredible result for them because they've been struggling so much. It was an all Ducati lockout of the podium, admittedly not in the order we usually expect. Fabio Antonio was third, Marc Marquez was in second, and Alex Marquez was in third place. What did you guys think of the sprint and Saturday as a whole?
Saturday was highly entertaining and definitely qualifying gave me a few thoughts that just didn't really come to fruition, especially due to Fabio's pole position. But honestly, the sprint as itself was actually a very I wouldn't say it was the best one to watch. Actually, if I was to rank it, I'd probably say it was one of the worst this weekend. Sorry, but yeah, I'm really happy that Alex Marquez won. That made me very happy. Because he's kind of establishing a name for himself now. It's kind of like I'm not just Marc Marquez's brother, which I really like. Um, on the sprint, Marco Bezzecchi finished fourth, which kind of gave me a few ideas. I was like, oh my God, we're so back. Um, yeah, it was quite fun to watch, especially because most of the riders I like had a good weekend, apart from Fermin Aldeguer, but we won't talk about that because it makes me really sad. But the podium was good. It was just, yeah, it was a good podium, and I'm happy that I got to see Jose Antonio on the podium again.
Yeah, I think Bezecchi's result in particular was one that was kind of eye-catching. He qualified down in 11th, and even just regularly going 11th to 4th means you've ridden a pretty good race. But it's the fact that on lap 1 of the race, he dropped back like a fair amount of places off the line and into the first few corners. So the fact that he managed to keep his pace strong enough to just charge straight back through the field and ended up finishing not too far off of the podium, I think was really impressive and obviously was a sign of things to come in the main race. Aside from that, none of the rookies were in the points. Obviously, we were missing Ayagura due to injury. Somkiat Chantra was 21st, and Fermin Aldeguer was 14th. He could have had points, but he was involved in a bit of a last lap incident with Pedro Acosta, so wasn't able to get it done in the end.
I am quite enjoying this sort of, I'm not calling it a rivalry, but the Pedro versus Fermin thing. It's just quite entertaining for me. Now, Sunday. Because this Grand Prix came after Moto2, which was my favourite race of the weekend, but I was going in thinking, oh, you can't beat that Moto2 race, really. It came darn close, it did. Like, so close. Because, where shall I start? It started with chaos. Absolute chaos. Alex Marquez got a great start, but crashed out on the very first corner. Alicia Spargo crashed out and took Franco Morbidelli with him, and we all know they definitely aren't the best of friends, let's say. Then Marc Marquez also crashed out, and we saw the red flag come out. This was because of oil on the track, and as less than 3 laps were completed, it was a full restart. So that meant all 4 riders that had crashed out could restart this race, which obviously, given the fact that Mark and Alex are in the championship fight, very much so, it was definitely a blessing for them. So we get the second start and we see some overtakes and battling, and Fabio Quartararo gets to the front of the Grand Prix and is dominating this race. He's over 5 seconds up the road, and I'm starting to, settle down and think that Yamaha's winless streak is over. At this point, we had, I think it was a Honda and an Aprilia up there as well, and it was looking like we were going to get a non-Ducati podium for the first time in fact, I can't even remember the last time. I might have to look that up, actually. But then, all of a sudden, it cuts back to Fabio Quartararo, and his hand is up. It was utterly heartbreaking. He's 5 seconds up the road, and his ride height device got stuck on. Honestly, when he was, crying, I did get a little bit teary-eyed. We did see, quite a nice moment between him and his good friend Tom, where Tom's obviously consoling Fabio because, yeah, we thought this was going to be Yamaha's first win in a long time, and it was not the case. He wasn't the only rider falling to his knees this race because Pecco Bagnaia also crashed out. Alex Marquez and Marc Marquez were on the second bikes, so I don't know if that meant they weren't as strong as they would have been if they were on the number 1 bike. Alex did come home in 5th, and Mark did pick up the 3rd podium spot. But 2nd place went to Johann Zarco, who put in another incredible performance on that Honda. And taking up the top spot this week with Aprilia's annual Silverstone show-up, I suppose, was Marco Bezzecchi. While my heart breaks for Quartararo, you can't help but be chuffed for Bezzecchi. And I've just rambled far too much about this race. What are the 2 of your thoughts?
Race was definitely entertaining. I think if anyone's been here now that's been watching this long enough knows that I do have a bit of a vendetta against Franco Morbidelli, and while I can't say it's been fulfilled this weekend, well, no, it has been because he was riding slowly again, but during the race, the crash between Elation and him was actually not his fault. I just found it really funny, and I was pissing myself laughing. I was like, you're mad, but you would have done the exact same thing probably. But yeah, aside from that, we ignore that, guys. We ignore that. Didn't happen. Totally fine. Then everyone started crashing out. I was like, what the hell is going on? Um, it was insane. Then red flag, and then restart, and then Franco Morbidelli got his position back. Mark got his position back. Alex got his position back. I was like, okay, this is fine. Um, then Fabio was leading. I was like, this is great, fine, happy. Then he had a mechanical. I was like, crap. And I do stand by my point that I understand camera operators have a job. I just genuinely think it's evil and unfair to film someone who is in that situation. But whatever. What does my opinion matter? Moving on, winner of the race, Marco Bezzecchi. Yes, please. My God, I've been waiting so long for it. And, you know, to be a fan of him since 2023, and for him to be a title contender, and you're like, this is I'm so ready for 2024. And then just to have a horrible season with no podiums and no wins and absolutely nothing, barely any points. And then moving into the start of the season, which was the exact same, I genuinely didn't think if we were going to get anything. And then for that to come back for us, it was just absolutely beautiful. And I want to say Marco Bezzecchi is freaking back. It's that mullet, man. It's the mullet that did it. But just, yeah, beautiful race. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, obviously it was heartbreaking for Fabio Quartararo. He deserved that race win, I'd say, more than anyone else on the grid. But alas, that's how motorsport works. Obviously, it was great for Bezzecchi and Johann Zarco taking back-to-back podiums. First time a Honda's done that since Marc Marquez in 2021, and doing so with him on the podium both times, yeah, I feel like that would just kind of give them a bit of a boost as well. Yeah, Morbidelli was in 4th from Alex Marquez. I do think that both Marquez brothers being on their second bikes, as well as obviously the mental implications of crashing on the first lap, would have played into them not performing as strongly as we would have expected. But yeah, they got it done in the end, 3rd and 5th, so it wasn't too bad. A lot better than it would have been had the race not been red flagged. Firmin Aldeguer did end up getting points in the race, so he took his slot as top rookie. The only other things that I'd really feel like need mentioning are some tire pressure penalties. Luca Marini finished up in the top 10, but he was one that got penalised, so he got dropped back to 15th. And Enea Bastianini, Lorenzo Savadori, and Sonkiat Chantra were the others to pick up penalties, but I don't believe any of them finished in the points anyway.
And it is quite entertaining to me as a very, proud member of the LCR fan club that it's LCR Honda that's getting up there. Now, I want both of your thoughts on Pecco Bagnaia, because there's something going on with Pecco. He's saying that his setup's not working, and he's just obviously crashed out this weekend. He's not right up behind Mark like I expected him to be this season, and that's surprising to me. I genuinely thought he was going to be challenging for this championship, but it does not look like the case. Do you think he'll find something again soon, or do you think he's going to continue these struggles for the rest of the season?
I feel like it's a mentality thing more than anything else. It's in his head that like this guy's beating me. Like in what way am I going to beat him? Am I ever going to be able to beat him? It's just a really bad mentality, and I'm not really sure if he can break out of it. I'm not sure if that's going to take a long time. It's really sad to look at, especially considering where he was last season. It's kind of like, what happened to you, mate? But it's something that I hope he can break out of soon enough, either with a win or just a good result over a weekend. Anything like that, I think, will break him out of this situation, and then he'll be able to title contend. But right now, he's just not in the state, and it's just really sad.
Yeah, I feel like he kind of has to find something soon. I believe his main complaint's just been a general lack of front feeling compared to the GP24, but it seems like obviously his teammates riding around it as Marc Marquez generally does. So uh, I don't feel like he can really put all the pressure on Ducati to sort of find the fix for him. I feel like he might need to make a change on his like riding style, something like that. And yeah, uh, just needs to find something, and pretty soon if he wants to remain in title contention.
Now, to round out the episode, it's something I've been wanting to bring in for a while, and I thought every race review we will give our rider of the weekend. So, Kelly, kick us off. Which rider, it doesn't matter which class, and yeah, who do you think just deserves that spot?
For me, I think given my reaction about 5 minutes ago, it's very obvious who I picked, but Marco Bezzecchi, 100%. And I know everyone's on social media because they suck. Everyone's on social media and they're like, oh, he wouldn't have got the win if Fabio didn't have a mechanical, and oh, he wasn't fast enough to get himself. Shush! Silencio. Motorsport is always about luck, okay? There has to be something that goes your way for most of you to get a win, unfortunately, right? That's just how it works. Um, he won that on merit. He has to be close enough to the field to even have that luck work for him. Okay, and I'm really happy that he did. Like his mentality is back. You can see it in him. It's the mullet man. He did it. But yeah, he's definitely my rider of the weekend. Fully deserved, and I really want to see weekends like this from him again.
Yeah, if Fabio Quartararo managed to get through the race without that mechanical, I very likely would have gone with him. But through no fault of his own, obviously, I've decided to go for Jose Antonio Rueda. Obviously, winning from last on the grid is impressive no matter the circumstances. And the fact that he did it in a fully dry race with not many incidents as well, yeah, just shows how class he's been this year, and obviously increased his lead in the championship up to 54 points, I believe. So it's going to be hard to stop him from continuing this sort of form in future races.
Now, technical issue or not, I have gone for Fabio Quartararo purely based on the fact that he's just such an incredible talent, and he did get a 3 from 3 in terms of pole positions. Obviously, Marco Bezzecchi did incredible, and Kelly's right, there's definitely luck that comes into winning a MotoGP race as well. But yeah, Fabio is just all class this weekend, in my opinion. That is us for the week. If you're new here, I'm Kate. The other lovely lady on our podcast is Kelly, and PozzA rounds us out. We chat about Moto3, Moto2, and MotoGP every week, so if you enjoy that, just hit us a like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.